Chamath Palihapitiya, I don't know if you guys know much about him. He's one of the better modern day investors of our time. He founded the venture capital firm Social Capital, and he's achieved amazing results with his investing company so far. Between 2011 and 2019, Social Capital has delivered a gross absolute return of 997%. This is more than 3 times the 325% returns of the S&P 500. If we look at that annually, that's an average return of 32.9%. Not bad in the slightest. So what I'm going to cover in this video is Chamath's portfolio over at Social Capital. Now, they own 74 different investments in their portfolio. However, most of these investments are private, which we can't invest in. So instead of going over 74 different investments, I'm going to pick out the ones that are relevant to us, the major investments that he's made, and the major ones that we too can invest in. What I'll first point out about each one of his positions is we do not know the exact size that he has in each one. He doesn't have to disclose this. His investing company Social Capital is not public, unfortunately. Now, one of the stocks that Chamath has been a long-time investor in is Tesla. Tesla, I'm sure you know what the company does. They're the electric vehicle and clean energy company. Now, this clean energy part is the game changer. Why? Because the world is quickly clicking on how important sustainable energy is. At the end of the day, there's only so long that you can keep polluting the earth before things go bad. So the world wants to change to a better form of energy. This is where Tesla comes in. They are the king when it comes to electrification and decarbonization. This is why Chamath says the company can be worth a lot more money than it is today because of how big the market actually is. He said, there are trillions of dollars of bonds, of capex, and of value sitting inside the energy generation infrastructure of the world that's going to go upside down. And when that goes pear-shaped, Tesla will double and triple again. Delivering clean energy and allowing the world to be sustainable is an incredibly important thing that will be rewarded by markets and individuals. That's what we've seen so far with Tesla, and the way the world's going, we're only going to see more. So Chamath, he's a big fan of finding companies that have high potential and then betting big on them. One of those investments is Slack. In fact, he wished that he put even more money into Slack from day one. He said, one of our biggest investments is a company called Slack, and I still think to myself, why did we not lead every single round and write the entirety of the fund into that company? It was obvious from day one that Stuart Butterfield is an iconic CEO and that Slack is going to be one of the most important tech companies in the world. So those are big words. You know, Slack at the moment is valued at $24 billion. It's a publicly traded stock that we can all buy. And if Chamath's words do come to fruition, Slack would be worth trillions of dollars, just like the other most important tech companies in the world. That means it's got the potential to not just 10 times its original investment, but 20, 30, 50 times a return. This is why he invested so heavily into it. He saw irregular risk compared to the potential return. So to all you out there, I just want to quickly explain what Slack is for those who don't know. Okay, think of email. We've had email for how many years? Around 50 years, and its technology has not really been updated. This is where Slack fits in. Unlike email, conversations in Slack are easy to follow. They're more than conversations. You can make calls, share files, and connect with other apps. So just think of it like a modernized version of email, similar to how Facebook is a modernized version of Bebo and MSN Messenger. And it's for these reasons why Palihapitiya said, I think it is the most incredible business that we have seen. Probably the next closest thing to it is a company that just went public recently, which is Zoom, end quote. And by the way, he said that way back in 2019. And we all know what happened to Zoom since then. It's become widely used pretty much throughout the whole world, and the stock has gone up over 300%. Slack has the potential to do the same over the next couple of years. For anyone that has followed Chamath over the years, you will know he is a big fan of Bitcoin. In fact, all the way back in 2012, he was talking about buying Bitcoin when it was just $200 a coin. All crypto fans will be glad to know that even today he is still a big backer of Bitcoin as an investment. He said, where is it going? It's probably going to 100k, then 150, then 200,000. In what period? I do not know. 5 years, 10 years, but it's going there. And you might rightfully ask why. Because Bitcoin is a hedge against global uncertainty and a hedge against these weird economic and governmental conditions that we're in. Palihapitiya said, the reason is because every time you see all of this stuff happening, it just reminds you that, well, our leaders are not as trustworthy and reliable as they used to be. So just in case, we really do need to have some kind of, insurance we can keep under our pillow that gives us some access to an uncorrelated hedge. It's Money 2.0, a huge, huge deal. Okay, these next two companies that Chamath owns, there's a good chance that you haven't heard of them. That's because they're still in their higher growth phase and they're not big name companies yet. These two stocks are going to be made available to the public in the short to medium term future, and they're ones to look into if you're looking for the next Amazon, Facebook, Netflix, etc. Not saying that they will be, but they could be. Okay, so the first one of Chamath's stocks that he's going to put on the public market is called SoFi. And SoFi is a personal finance company. Their products include student loan refinancing, mortgages, personal loans, credit card, investing and banking through both their mobile app and desktop interfaces. Now, essentially what they're doing is disrupting the banking sector. Here's what Chamath said on his SoFi investments. A lot of the things that I do is try to look back on the investments that we've made like Amazon and Tesla and try to find patterns. And in this investment, what I was trying to do is map those patterns into financial services. Just because we're at a point in time where it's clear that banking infrastructure isn't meeting the needs of US consumers. And so what I did was try to figure out what was broken in banking and then try to figure out which company was best representative of the solution that people wanted. End quote. Essentially, the company that he found that would do this was SoFi. Low to no fees, fair and transparent lending, and a full suite of products for a one-stop shop. SoFi is the new disruptor in banking. Another big disruptor of Chamath's is called Opendoor. I'm going to let him explain this investment for himself. Here's what he said on it. The reality is, in the last 20 years, but even specifically in the last 6 months, everything that could be bought and sold online has moved online except real estate. And it's interesting because this is a category that touches every single American. 68% of Americans own a home. 32% probably want to at some point. 5 million homes are sold every year. This is the largest undisrupted market in the US. It's worth $1.6 trillion. This is where we found Opendoor. How does this work? You as a consumer can now go to opendoor.com and within 24 hours, they will give you an all-cash offer for your home. So the more offers that they're able to make, the more homes that they will buy and sell, which means the more value-added services that they can automate online. For example, mortgages, title, escrow, all of these things where you used to have hundreds of pages of documents can now all be done online with Opendoor. The last major investment that I would be remiss if I did not mention it is Amazon. Amazon is one of Chamath's great investments that he's made a lot of money on. I wish I invested in it back when he did. We all know what the company does. They're the e-commerce platform. You don't really need to take your car to a shop anymore. Just make a couple of clicks on Amazon. It'll be delivered straight to your front door. So that's e-commerce. Then they've got their AWS segment, ranging from database services to machine learning to robotics to virtual reality. Their AWS segment has done extremely well for Jeff Bezos' Amazon. So it's fair to say that they have earned their growth over the past 10 or so years. The stock is up over 2,500% from $118 a share in 2010 to above $3,000 today. And that's the breakdown of the key investments relevant to us investors in Palihapitiya's portfolio. Now, obviously, I didn't want to go over every single one of the 74 privately held stocks that we couldn't buy. I wanted to go over the ones that I thought were the most important. So I hope it was helpful. And in the years to come, I think this guy is someone that we're really going to need to follow. His goal is to be our generation's largest investment company. He said, "I don't think Social Capital will be a venture capital firm. I think eventually what I'll do is take Social Capital public. My ambition is to be our generation's Berkshire Hathaway." Chamath Palihapitiya is someone that I'm going to be following pretty closely in the years to come.